Hello and welcome to this first part in my super simple sound videos. So this is another little mini series that I'm going to start putting together that's specifically designed for kids, young people, children getting involved in church sound for the first time. So if you are a young person who is just starting to get interested in sound and just starting to try and understand what it's all about and how it all works, then please give this video a thumbs up. I would love to know that you're out there and that you're watching these videos, and hopefully this will give you a nice little introduction into church sound systems. Today we're going to talk about the most important part of a sound system, which is the mixing desk, or sometimes we call it a mixing console. Just here over my shoulder I have my mixing desk. This is the one that I use here. Yours may be similar to this, or it might be fairly different. They do come in all shapes and sizes, but they all do the one same thing, and that is they bring multiple inputs and send that sound out to somewhere. So there's a few things in there that I probably need to explain. What is an input? Well, inputs are places where you can connect sound into your sound system. So that could be a microphone from a singer, it might be a guitar, it might be a keyboard. There are some things that even have multiple inputs, like a drum kit. You can have more than one microphone around a drum kit, and all of those microphones, all of those things are going to come into your mixing desk via an input. So any sound that you hear on a sound system is going to be connected to an input somewhere. Sometimes those inputs are going to be on a stage, and sometimes those inputs are going to be on the back of the mixing desk itself. So, for example, if you have a computer next to your sound desk and you play a video off that computer, the sound from that computer will be plugged into the back of the mixing desk. But if you have a guitarist on a stage, well, the guitar is going to be plugged in at the stage end. But yet both of those two things are coming into inputs on the mixing desk. Different mixing desks are going to have different numbers of inputs. Some of them might be fairly small and have 6, 8, 10 inputs, something like that. Some of them might be much bigger and have 48 inputs. This desk here can do 48 inputs of audio. Some of them might have even more than that as well. But ultimately, it doesn't matter how many inputs you have, they are all going to do the same thing. They're going to take those inputs of audio and they're going to send those inputs out to something. Now, normally, most of the time, they're going to send those inputs out to your speakers. So the main thing that we're going to be doing as sound engineers in a church is mixing our inputs for the speakers for everybody to hear. So how do we do that then? Well, inputs are fairly easily adjusted on a mixing desk. All we're going to do is push the faders up to a point where we can hear the sound coming out the speakers to the level that we like. And this is going to be true for all of our inputs. So we will push up a guitar channel, or a keyboard channel, or a preacher channel. Whichever channel we need to use, we can push the fader up until we can hear it coming out the speakers at a level that seems about right. So how do we know when we've pushed it up to a level that seems about right? Well, there is one golden rule for mixing sound, and it's very simple. You make the main thing the main thing. Whatever is happening at that moment in time, you need to make sure that there is one thing on the stage that is the main thing. Now, if we're singing, if we're doing a time of worship, the main thing will be the person leading worship. That's the main thing that's going on the stage, and we need to make the main thing the main thing. So push that worship leader up until you can hear the worship leader louder than everybody else. And if it's a sermon, make sure that we can hear the preacher louder than anything else that is going on. Push them up until you can hear them, and the main thing is the main thing. The same is true if it's somebody reading the Bible or praying or whatever else might be happening. Anything that's going on the stage, make the main thing the main thing. So once you've worked out what the main thing is, everything else should be slightly quieter. So once we've got our worship leader pushed up so that they're the loudest, all the other instruments should be slightly quieter. All the other singers should be slightly quieter. Make that main thing the main thing. Sometimes the way we do that isn't by turning things up, but it's actually by turning everything else down. We don't always want to make sound louder and louder and louder and louder because we keep turning things up. Sometimes we need to get to a point where we say, well, that's loud enough, and everything else just needs to turn down a bit. As long as the main thing is the main thing, it doesn't matter which method you use. Just make sure it doesn't get too loud. So that is the golden rule of mixing sound. We have our inputs coming in. We send them to an output, our speakers in our room. And we make sure the main thing is the main thing. And as long as we're doing that, you're beginning to mix audio. Now there is a lot more that goes on a mixing desk, and we can talk more about that as we go through this series, but for the time being, if this is your first time coming to a mixing desk, just use those few rules. Make sure we're blending those sounds, mixing them together as they come in, we're sending them out to something, some speakers in the room, and we're making sure the main thing is the main thing. Now if that's been helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you get notified when I make some more of these videos. But that's it for now. See you in the next video, and enjoy mixing audio.